So I'm gonna show you how to play defensive dive or counter dive depending on what the enemy team is playing. Usually as a main tank you'd be positioned up here and you'd have your team somewhere in locations like this for Diva. Diva would be over here. And supports would probably be back here, so the Diva can peel back to them easily, and they can also have set lines of both the supports and Diva. You'd also usually have a defensive, like a McCree or something immobile up here to help the supports if they got dive, and the mobile DPS would be lingering somewhere between these two, like up there and there, so they could help both the tanks and get on targets that may come up to here, like a Widow or a Genji or Diva or anything. And anything down here, like a Mercy, as in anything that can't really contest high ground. So that's just general positioning. So as a main tank, the enemy team are probably going to either dive your supports or up here to contest high ground. And if they don't have a Widow, you're going to be reactively diving onto wherever they dive. So when they jump, you are going to jump right after them and get the cleave damage in and force them out if you can. And that's just generally how defense dive works. You can also do it from like if there's the DPS like a Widow, you jump over here and do the same thing, or something like that, and then down there once again. So usually you adapt based on what the enemy team comp is. So you can either have your Diva or Winston scout a little bit. Unless you have a Sombra, she can scout because she's invisible and she can't really get, killed as easily or, caught out of position. Even though you're not really out of position, you're just peeking. You should quickly glance at what they have, see what they have, relate to your team, and come back to a position which you think is suitable. If they have dive, I highly recommend up here. Same with like Rein's Zarya, and you'll just be able to adaptively play to what they have. If they have dive, you do the thing that I demonstrated before with jumping onto them or jumping onto their DPS if they're up there or down there. And if they have Rain Zarya, I will quickly demonstrate that now with a Rain dummy. So if you're playing against Rain Zarya, as I said, there's a kind of different way to play because you can't really counter dive, but they can't contest you on high ground, so you're going to be utilizing high ground a lot. And you can usually drop down without using a cooldown, pressure the Rhine or the backline a bit, and if you take too much damage, you get out. Wait for your heals and see another target, reload in your downtime, and you can go back on the backline while they're contesting point. And if anyone's up here, they'll sometimes have remote body DPS that you can jump and you can go high ground, and in this situation, if there's a Diva, you should also do the same thing, but you have to remember about peeling for your team and helping, but you never want to drop down using an ability, because you need that to get out a lot of the time, especially against Deathpool. If you jump in with an ability, you haven't got one for like 6 or 5 seconds, and you can get bursted in really quickly, especially against Deathpool. So if they're coming top right or top left for them, it's probably not a good idea to stay here for monkeys too long. And you have two options. You can either be here and jump into them and then like soft dive down like this, and then wait for your jump to come up. Maybe one of them will follow you if you're lucky and you're fine. Or what you can also do is just play around the corner like this, get a little bit of damage in, and when you need to get out, you jump back and you're in safety for your healers and whatever. And sometimes if you get enough damage on to invest, you can. You have DPS shooting, you have possibly a Diva coming over and helping you, and you might be able to get a cut out of it and snowball. With ult in that room, if you're a monkey, I highly suggest pushing people if you can. You might be able to get a support pick, and it can be helpful. Just be careful of your health because you might need to get out since it is 6v1 in that room. So as I mentioned, Diva should probably be stood around here, because here she can help your support, so it'll be positioned back there, or monkey over there if she needs to. And it's pretty easy to access both of them, whether you use fly or not. If they do the dive that they go from main, like I made the example of in the monkey clip a bit earlier on, they go from there to there. You fly over here, or maybe not even fly, and you can use missiles and just contest and DM, like any Genjis or anything. And that will usually peel anyone that goes up here off down, and you might even get a kill out of it if they be too aggressive or invest too hard. You can also help your monkey, like who's going to be up there, provided like he's getting a death ball thing, like just by DMing him or flying over and helping him up here, depending on your comp. But you have to drop down if you do fly over and wait until your flies back up to go over here, I'd say. That is just me, the way I'd play her at least. Against death ball this is, because like, you know, death ball's gonna fuck monkey alone. You can't really fight monkey range area as D.Va Winston. So you just get the damage you can. Hopefully your DPS can get a pick out of it, or you might be able to get a pick out of it yourself. You can contest high ground really easily from here, and some teams will jump up here. Like, they will contest up here to pressure anyone up here and force you back or force you down until they can get the dive they want onto a support or something. So playing up here as D.Va is good. You can DM any oncoming damage. That could be high burst like fire missiles, Junkrat, Widow headshots, and you can even like peek around and missile the floor, because it's pretty easy to do direct damage on the floor and contest the Widow up here, or a Genji or something. And hopefully they'll back out to the Mega down there, or you might even be able to get a Zen or something out, not necessarily out of position. This is the best place for a Zens to be, or up there, if they're running dive. So you should drop down and just maybe get behind them, do the damage, and get back out. As D.Va, you need to listen very carefully for calls, and know when to use DM and use it correctly. So if your monkey says he's diving on someone, he probably wants help from either you or the DPS. The mobile DPS, that is. If there is someone diving your support and they need pills, you need to go straight to them as fast as you can. Also from this position, you can see a lot of things at the point. Like, D.Va should be placed on most dive maps where you can see flanked routes, or most of the point where you can access everyone, because she is vital in keeping people alive for a bit longer so they can do more, and also contesting enemy players. So like here, you can see things that come down there, around there, up there, and there's a similar thing with Monkey. Monkey can see like over there, and they'll know when someone's coming through there, and if you know the average travel time of each character, you can jump on them as they come through doing the burst damage, and like your cooldown is technically shortened by like a few seconds because you get there before instead of after, so you take the fight earlier in a sense. So that's basically D.Va on defense. I unfortunately can't have like a third person to help me show what you'd do as D.Va when they're being dove, like your supports, but you should probably just DM them until they can fight back, kill, or something. It's much better to DM against things that can't go through DM, like shurikens, bullets, projectiles, widow shots, anything like that. And your supports can heal each other, get damage off, stuff like that. And you can also missiles while you DM, so like you don't have to shoot at all. You should also try and save DM for ults. Ult reading is very important, and you need to learn how to do it pretty consistently, especially if they have high like ults that can win games. So like, let's say they're running Death and going main, you can hold up here as D.Va. They'll probably try and grab either on point or up here, and you just put DM over her. Mobile DPS works similarly to Monkey in a lot of these situations. So whether it's Genji, well, Genji is probably the best example of Monkey. They play fairly similar in defense dive, and you'd probably be positioned up here, just, you know, getting damage off until you can invest on that target. Like, let's say there's a Zen low hit, you can invest and get your dash reset and go into another target, or your counter dive with your monkey up here and help them. You'll probably get a bunch of dash resets and just be like this until everything's dead. Your immobile DPS will be up here that can help the supports, kind of similar to D.Va, whether it's McCree, Soldier, Widow, you know, something that can just fucking not really move much but can get a lot of value. A lot of value out of just being in a good position. That'll probably be like McCree, Soldier, Widow, whatever you want really. And you, along with Winston and D.Va will be the ones to contest point briefly and against Deathball until you need to get out. So against Deathball, you briefly touch a cart until you need to get out so they don't get a tick. Preserving ticks is very important especially in dive, you kind of don't want them to get as many ticks so they can't snowball fights. And a lot of the time you'll just be poking until you can invest on a kill to get that kill, and you decide whether you want to keep going or get out. So that's roughly how you play mobile DPS. It's just take the way you play Winston and put it in a more damagey way, and you have to play it more passive. You can usually dive with your Winston, but you usually are just going to be doing poking or contesting another DPS, like up on high ground, similar to Widow. So as a mobile DPS, you'll probably be positioned where my friend is here, and your job is to fend off any divers that come onto your supports, and I'll demonstrate that in a few seconds. So as Genji, I'm talking if you're in a defense perspective, so the McCree will be positioned up there where I'm looking, and fucking bitch is shooting at me, and you'll be diving up there when your monkey gives the signal. And obviously the enemy monkey will be positioned there, probably the deer will be positioned above you, and if the monkey calls to go on the target over there at the back, you will wait for the monkey to dash and go, and you'll dash up with him, and your job as a McCree is to basically do that. It won't work as smoothly every time, but as the McCree, you'd be positioned with your supports to protect them, and you know, kind of gets a little bit fucked, you know. He doesn't really live if there's two supports. He's going to get discarded, the McCree's going to have heals, he's going to flashbang, and that's just generally how you fight as a defense dive if you were to get dove by someone who plays alone without their team, or yeah. As a monkey, if a monkey dove you as an immobile DPS up there, try to save flash, because like it's going to get bubbled. Save with the diva, because good divas will defense matrix it, and your fucking flash is gone, and it's going to be much harder to keep your supports alive. So just make sure you use your flashbang wisely. Make sure you make them back out when you use your flashbang. Like do the burst damage. Flashbang, fan the hammer's fine as much as it's hated. I hate it too, but it's fine to use it for the burst damage or even get the kill. If it's Diva though, I prefer double headshotting a Diva. It does about the same damage, and they usually run away faster. So then you only use 2 bullets instead of 10 or 6, whatever it is. So yeah, I'm gonna go over how you would play supports in this situation quickly, and that will be probably it. So as your supports, as I said, they should be positioned up here, where they can discord orb, like Zen can discord orb and shoot people pretty easily from here. And a Mercy should be positioned behind him here, where she can pretty much be like in cover and help him. You can also, when you need to, peek out, fly to a Diva over there, fly to a Winston over there, and you can, it's probably best to stay above point and heal people if they drop down, because you don't need to drop down and fly up like this unless there's someone attacking you. That's how I would play Diva. Ana works here if you're comfortable enough with her. It's like you have pretty good line sights, but she's a lot harder to play because you will probably get dove and a lot easier. But most of the time you should be positioned on high ground, especially on this map, and you can cover most areas. Zen does the same thing. You need to peel for your Zen a lot. Like, if your Zen's under attack and he calls it, you need to help him, and you just mostly do that. Protect him, heal your team up, and stuff. Zen just discards people who are being dove, and stays up here most of the time, protecting his team. So that's basically supports in a nutshell.